Welcome back everyone, it's Aric from Rare Candy, and today finally back with another video after what seems like forever. It's been a couple weeks I think since my last video got uploaded, and if you guys have been kind of wondering where I've been, don't worry, I did not abandon my channel or anything like that. But if you've not been following my updates on social media or the community posts here on YouTube, essentially like right before Fusion Strike came out, I got really sick for like a week and a half. Then as soon as I got better, I got sent out of town for work right when the newest set came out. And then immediately when I got back into town, I had something time sensitive come up in my personal life that I had to attend to. So it's been a struggle to crank out some content lately, but hey, I think all of the craziness that's been going on in my life is finally settled down again, and I can finally get back around to uploading some videos. So today, now that we have that out the way, I got you guys caught up on that. We are going to be taking a look at the new VMAX Climax set. Just got revealed in full for Japan, excluding secret rares and stuff like that. And even though this isn't the most exciting set, this is largely going to be like a reprint set for Japan, giving them some of like the pre-release promos and alternate arts of cards that we already have. There are still a few new cards coming out in this set that could maybe be impactful, so I still wanted to take a look at these new cards that are going to be coming out. And I think the thing that's had most people talking about this are the new character rares they're mentioning here on Poke Beach. Try to show this off real quick if we can. Yeah, they just gotta load over here. But yeah, there's some spicy new full art Pokemon coming out in this set that a lot of people are excited about. I don't know if I'd play with these rarities just because, I don't know, they're not my style, but a lot of people are excited for these. But more importantly, I want to take a look at the new cards, like I said, see if any of these might have some competitive potential. There's only going to be 15 new cards in total, but hey, you never know, they could still wind up being relevant. So let's dive in and see what we have here. So we have a Cherubi. Let's see, ability, Lively Fruit, prevent all damage of attacks of your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. Not the worst thing in the world. Like, you do stop things like Dragapult from picking you off, which is kind of okay. 40 HP is really bad though. 2 Inteleons can just, you know, snipe this thing out of existence. So not sure if this is going to be the preferred Cherubi, but the ability is at least kind of nice. So we have a Snorunt. Nothing too special there. We do have a new Fusion Strike card in this set though. We have Ice Cube. Let's see. Guy looks kind of cool. I guess as cool as Ice Cube can. Not the most exciting Pokemon in the world. But yeah, Fusion Strike card. Let's see, for a watercolorist, choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 40 damage times the amount of Fusion Strike energy attached to your Pokemon. Of course, don't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon. So it's kind of like a sniping version of Meloetta's attack. Like, Meloetta, of course, hits for a little bit more damage, but the trade-off is you only hit the active, whereas Ice Cube's attack can hit stuff on the bench. And more than likely, we would never actually attack with Ice Cube. More than likely, this would just be kind of a target for Mew VMAX. So I mean, if we have 2 Fusion Strike energy in play, that's only 80, which doesn't seem that great. But I guess if we compare that to Oricorio, which has kind of a similar attack, Oricorio only places 5 damage counters, whereas I think on average you're going to have 2 Fusion Strike energy in play, hitting for 80 in total. So, I mean, and I guess if we max out our Fusion Strike energy, that's going to be, what, 160? Which is not the best number now that Deandre is out of the format. I mean, I guess it depends on the math that your Mew needs to hit for, but I feel like most of the time, if you do need some cleanup damage, or Oricorio probably will get the job done, and its ability helps out your Fusion Strike Pokemon. So, not a big fan of this Ice Cube. Then the other attack is just a vanilla 100. So we do have a new V-Union card coming out in this set. We have Morpeko V-Union. Very, very nice artwork. I love the way this little guy looks. But 310 HP. Fighting weakness to retreat cost. And as usual with the V-Union cards, this thing has 4 different attacks here. First one, again, like all the other V-Unions, for our colors, we attach 2 lightning energy from discard to this Pokemon. So that's, of course, a way to get this powered up. But we have Flaffy, so I don't think we would actually end up using this too often. Its other attack, 2 colorless, draw until you have 10 cards in your hand. That's, I mean, that is pretty good draw power, I'm not going to lie. Let's see, lightning, 2 colorless, 100, discard all energy from this Pokemon. Does 100 for each card discarded in this way. Okay, that has my attention a little bit. So if we discard 4 energy, we're doing 400? not bad, I have to say. I really don't hate that. I mean, that's going to knock out anything in the game. You have to think, if we have Rayquaza VMAX, if we want to take a one-shot, we have to discard. We need a Fire Energy plus 4 Lightnings to discard. And same thing for Single Strike Urshifu. This hits a little bit harder than that for the same amount of energy. So I kind of don't hate this. And I will say too, there is a world where you throw down the new, oh my god, what is it called? The new double colorless energy thing coming out, the turbo something energy. I know it reduces your damage, but that might help get this powered up a little bit easier. And the damage reduction that card gives you isn't relevant for this, because I think it's a -20 reduction. And if we attach that and have 2 lightning energy, so 2 Flaffies plus that double colorless energy, we're hitting 380 after our damage reduction. That's great. So I actually don't hate this attack. And then just 160 for lightning 2 colorless. So of course, though, the big issue with these cards, we don't really have great ways at getting these V-Union cards in the discard pile, because of course, guys, we need all 4 pieces in the discard to be able to get it back out into play. So yeah, I mean, maybe once we get some better cards like that, we can check out more Peko. But this third attack, honestly, not bad, I don't think, guys. I think this is pretty easy to pull off. But yeah, between not being able to get this thing in play easily and the fighting weakness, Morpeko in the short term might not be the best card, but maybe long term might have some potential. All right, so we have Mimikyu VMAX here, a new psychic type Pokemon. There's no Mimikyu V, no new Mimikyu V in the set, but you do have to remember we have one from Battle Styles, which actually does have a really good ability if it does need to evolve. But yeah, this got 300 HP, Dart Weakness, Fighting Resistance, 1 retreat cost. Dart Weakness, you know, a little bit annoying. Fighting Resistance is kind of nice at least, but 2 different attacks. First one, for 2 colorless energy, put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way that you like. And if you played Acerola's Premonition from your hand during this turn, put 13 damage counters instead. So this attack, not too bad, because again, like we talked about with Morpeko, we do have that new turbo colorless energy, whatever it's called, coming out. The new double colorless energy that reduces your damage. But what makes Mimikyu kind of good here is that we can play that energy, and also it doesn't reduce our damage because we're placing damage counters with Mimikyu, not doing direct damage. So this could be a potential new VMAX that could make use of that energy. Placing 13 damage counters is pretty solid. You know, it's not the heaviest hitting attack, that's for sure. But much like with Dragapult, what makes that card so good is the flexibility of where you put those damage counters. And Mimikyu seems kind of nice for a similar reason here. And it does have another attack for 2 Psychic, does 120. Discard a random card from your opponent's hand. Not too great, but I definitely like this first attack. I could even see some wild stuff where you play like Medicham V or something like that, or Inteleon to help set up like crazy plays for your Medicham. It doesn't seem awful. And like I said, the Mimikyu V is a solid card as well. Whenever you bench it, you're immune from damage on your opponent's next turn. So that's a card that definitely seems... this seems like it has some potential, but we need to check out Acerola's Premonition, because I actually don't know what that card does. That might actually severely impact whether we play this thing. Okay, your opponent reveals their hand. Draw a card for each trainer card you find there. I mean, not the worst thing in the world, but definitely not great either. So yeah, this card may limit my enthusiasm for Mimikyu V, or VMAX, I should say. But we'll come back to Acerola in a minute. But Mimikyu VMAX, it's a neat card, if nothing else. Let's see, we have a Dedenne. 20 plus 60 if your opponent has 1 prize card remaining and they're confused. Not great. Probably not playing this in any deck, unfortunately. Let's see, we have a new Alchemy. This is a card I do remember seeing in advance. I am a little bit more familiar with this one. Alchemy, though. Stage 1 Pokemon, searchable by Level Ball. I really do like that. 90 HP is very low, but it does make this evolution line very easily searchable. But it has this ability, if this Pokemon is your active, your turn does not end when you play Cafe Master. And if I remember right, that's a new supporter that accelerates like different types of energy. We'll revisit that one in a second too, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with accelerating energy. And then its only attack for 2 colors energy is 10, plus 40 more for each type of basic energy attached to your Pokemon in play. So that's kind of cool because I believe we have 8 basic energies. Fairy is gone, unfortunately, now. But if we have all 8 energies in play, we cap out at 330 damage with this thing, which isn't too shabby, guys. That's going to one-shot pretty much anything other than like an Eternatus VMAX. So let's check out the Cafe Master before I go any further on this one, though. Like I said, pretty sure it is Energy Acceleration. Yes, choose up to 3 of your bench Pokemon, search your deck for that many basic energy cards of different types, and attach them to one. Attach 1 to each Pokemon you choose, then shuffle your deck, and your turn ends. I don't know why this card ends your turn. This is kind of a clunky effect, but okay. So yeah, this is basically made to be played with Alchemy. We can search for 3 different types of energy. That's basically a plus 120 per turn every time we play this thing. So that's cool. Now, what is kind of awkward though, is that this accelerates to the bench, and Alchemy's effect only works when this is your active. So you're not going to be able to accelerate to your active Alchemy, which actually could wind up being very relevant and pretty bad. But you know what? I mean, it's still... There might be something here, guys. You can play things like EXP Share to keep chaining those energies in play. Maybe even Turbo Patch. I know that's getting into meme territory a little bit, but it doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world. I think just between EXP shares and your copies of Cafe Master, you can probably ramp up your damage pretty well. The only thing at that point is you do need some sort of draw engine, because you want to play Cafe Master most turns, and that means you're not drawing cards. So you are going to need to play other things like, you know, Cincino or, you know, Crobat, Kricketune, whatever it might be. But this thing's kind of neat. I don't know, it's worth messing around with, but I don't expect this to be like a big contender whenever it comes out. Alright, so we have a new Druddigon here. So Druddigon, basic Pokemon, no weakness of course, 2 retreat cost, has Revenge. Okay, so 40 plus 120 if one of our Pokemon was knocked out from an attack during your opponent's last turn, or knocked out by damage from an attack, I should say. So yeah, this is kind of like a spiritual successor to the old Druddigon from Flashfire, which actually was a pretty popular tech during its, you know, time in the game. I should clarify, back during that era of the game, though, Dragon Pokemon were weak to themselves. So a lot of times people were playing Druddigon to hit Rayquaza EX for weakness. That was a popular Dragon card for its time. But yeah, we don't really have such a dynamic right now. I don't think there's too many instances where you really want to play this. I don't know how many decks are going to be playing fire and water energy together. So this thing doesn't seem too great. Hitting 160 really isn't awful, but yeah, definitely does not live up to the legacy of the old Druddigon that came out before. So those are all the new Pokemon. Let's check out these trainer cards. Like I already said, we do have Acerol's Premonition here. This is kind of like a pseudo reprint of Getsis. Getsis, of course, was the supporter back from Plasma. Oh god, I'm blanking. Is it Freeze, I want to say? I think Plasma Freeze. That actually did see a good bit of play, but it was restricted to items, if I remember correctly, and your opponent shuffled them back into their deck. So this is nice because it does allow you to draw for each trainer card as opposed to just items. But of course, the trade-off with this is that, you know, you don't disrupt your opponent in any way. So Acerol's Premonition, it's okay, but this definitely seems most beneficial in like the Mimikyu VMAX theoretical deck, or maybe if we get some sort of item lock strategy at some point that winds up being viable. Like maybe if Vikavolt V ever like takes off, this actually could be maybe a solid supporter to maybe include. But yeah, it seems very fringe for the moment though, guys. All right, next up we have Gloria. This is a supporter I actually do remember. There was some discussion about this online. And this card is like, it's a swing and a miss, but it's so close to being good. But it says you search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon that don't have a rule box and put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. So this is kind of like the old Bridget from, was it Breakthrough, I believe it was at this point. Yeah, very similar to that. Which Bridget was a card that did see play, but most notably once we got Tapu Lele GX. So until we had a way to search out Bridget, it really didn't see a whole lot of play. And I kind of expect something similar for Gloria, though there is a world where Cincino maybe could use this, because Cincino can play a high count of Glorias and then discard them throughout the course of a game. So that might be one of the few cards right now that actually could maybe make use of this. But the reason I think this card is a miss is because it lacks the text on it that should say you can play this card on the first turn. And that's really what I think is holding a card like this back, because you know, you want to play a high count of this to make sure you can see it on turn 1. And if you go first, well, you can't play this card, and that's going to put you behind a turn. And so if you could play this on your first turn, I would maybe reconsider this card. But right now, it seems like it's pretty bad outside of, again, like Cincino decks, or until we get something like a Tapu Lele GX reprint, just as an easy example. So it's definitely a card that could easily turn around and see play eventually, but yeah. Since we can't play at turn 1, and since we don't have a way to easily find this, I just don't think it's going to wind up doing too much, unfortunately, guys. Because I love this card. It gives us support for non-rule box Pokemon, which I'm a huge fan of, but it's just not quite at the level that it needs to be. We have more of the gloves cards. I believe these are going to finally round out the last ones that we're missing, if I remember correctly. So we have Purification Gloves. We do 30 more damage to Psychic Pokemon. And then Hunter's Gloves does 30 more damage to Dragon Pokemon. As usual, I think these cards are pretty weak overall. There might be some weird fringe scenarios where they could be good, but I think overall these cards are pretty weak. And for the last new card, as we kind of mentioned, we have Cafe Master. So of course we can use this with the Alchemy that we already looked at, but I think the other consideration might be Sylveon VMAX. Of course, that has an attack that's very similar to the Alchemy. You want to do more damage for every different type of basic energy that we have in play. Oh wait, scrap that. Not Sylveon VMAX, guys. Sylveon's more damage for every different type of Pokemon, not basic energy. So yeah, this seems exclusively good in the Alchemy theoretical deck for the moment. I'm trying to think what else wants multiple basic types of energy. You know, maybe some sort of dragon deck. I mean, that's one of the only things. Maybe the Smeargle from Evolving Skies, I think it was. That's another card that might want to play a ton of different types of energy in a deck. So yeah, definitely a pretty weak card overall, but if you're playing Alchemy, this definitely makes sense in that deck, theoretically. So those are going to be all of the brand new cards. I think competitively, these cards are overall pretty weak. The standouts, I think, are going to have to be probably none of them. Morpeko long-term seems okay. Burst Wheel, I think, is a solid attack. Mimikyu does have potential as well. It just is such a shame that Aceral's Premonition is a little bit on the weaker side. Though, if we ever get some sort of bench-sitting item lock Pokemon like Amistar, or like a new Vileplume reprint, this plus Mimikyu definitely might be worth checking out. Alchemy just seems like kind of a fun meme. But yeah, so I'm not even sure how we're going to get these cards just yet, guys. I'm assuming they're going to be funneled into our Brilliant Star set at the beginning of next year. So probably expect to see them there. No confirmation just yet. But before we close out the video, we'll at least take a look at the new character art cards. I know a lot of people are excited for these. And it looks like they're kind of competitive. You know, we got the Leon Zard here, which, you know, I dread to see how expensive this is going to be whenever it comes out. We have Octillery, we got Frostmoth, Flappy, so a lot of competitive cards so far. Or somewhat competitive cards, I should say. We have a Rockruff? Very random, we have a Rockruff, but no Lycanroc. We got Houndoom, that definitely is going to be a good one. Bronzong, we got Big Peak coming in. This thing actually looks really good. I do love this one a lot. Yeah, and here we go. This is probably my favorite. I saw this one on Twitter the other day. I thought the Duraludon looked absolutely insane. Love the way this thing looks. Duraludon VMAX and Duraludon, not my favorite Pokemon and favorite cards by any stretch of imagination, but this is definitely a really sick looking full art. Let's see. Ooh, we got Blissey V. This is a pretty fresh one. I do have to say, I really do like the way this thing looks. I was not really a big fan of the other alternate art Blissey V that we got back in, what, Chilling Rain, I think it was. So if I were to play one of those two, or collect one of those two, this would definitely be the one. This thing looks absolutely sick. Love this. So yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on this set are going to be. I know we didn't look at too many new cards overall, but let me know if there's any of these that you are looking forward to. And comment down below. Let me know what your favorite new character art, secret rare, full art, whatever you want to call these things is going to be. Sound off down below in the comment section and let me know what you're thinking about these. But if you guys did enjoy my early thoughts here on these new VMAX Climax cards, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. That way you'll stay up to date with the rest of my videos. And if you want to take your support to the next level, you can also become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or pick up some merch at rarecandytcg.com. Links to those will be down below in the description. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.